I'm never nervous till I get up front. I'm curious, in resetting the vibrational button, the vibration of certain words that move me from a point of appreciation or, general, in a more specific direction.
Good, and let's today call them inspired words.
Yes.
So it's logical that if you've really nailed down a vibration of well-being, that the words that come next will be a vibrational match to it with more momentum. Don't you like thinking about it like that?
Yes.
So you want to talk about these words as they...
Well, I was wondering, what are the elements, for instance, of well-being? There are a lot of, you mentioned clarity. I got a long, focusing energy, trusting the laws of the universe. But there are lots of words. Integrity. Integrity maybe feels like righteousness or something. If I go to quiet integrity, it moves me up a little bit.
Well, you can get into that place of feeling good, and you can offer words deliberately, and you can feel how well they blend, or if they're off a little bit. You can feel which of these words hold a meaning for you that contains a bit of resistance. You can tell. Almost every word, the word love holds a lot of resistance for a lot of people, because love feels really wonderful when you're in sync with it, but it feels really awful when you can't find it. And every subject is really two subjects, wanted in the absence of it. So some of these words that you think are good-feeling words might hold resistance in it. And that's why we say the universe is not listening to your words. The universe doesn't hear what you say. The universe hears what you mean. So we wouldn't work too hard at trying to work the bugs out. Esther discovered, as we were talking about this vibrational climate, we were talking about your point of attraction, and we were talking about how the way you feel represents what your point of attraction is, and it's spinning because everything is coming that way. Law of attraction is reaching into the boundaryless boundaries of all that isness and bringing to you thoughts and ideas and co-creative partners and all manner of things right to your point of attraction. And so where you stand is indicated by how you feel. And so we were playful for a while, talking about it's like you're standing on this disc. Are you on the ornery disc? You can tell if you are, because there are a lot of ornery people around you. Are you on the trying to control circumstances disc and conditions disc? Because if you are, there are a lot of people around that are disobeying or that are pushing your buttons in that way. Are you on the high-flying disc? The high-flying disc meaning tuned in, tapped in, turned on. A lot of momentum and feeling good. And so for a while, Esther tried to isolate for herself what the high-flying disc meant, what those emotions were. And at first, the first word that came to her was fun. Because in fun, Esther can find no resistance in fun. And then the idea of fun brought the words lighthearted. Just that. And lighthearted brought the feeling of freedom. So it was fun in free. It was like free-flowing fun. Feeling so free, absence of responsibility, just free and fun. Free-flowing fun. Free-flowing, lighthearted, high-flying fun. So that, for a while, that's where she focused. That was what constituted high-flying disc to her, was if it was fun. And then she started thinking about, well, what kinds of things are fun? And then she thought, well, it's really fun. It's really fun to be interested in something. And so then the word interested and the word fun blended together for Esther, because she just loves being fascinated by something. She just loves something getting her attention. She loves her knowledge expanding on it. She loves how she can identify something and then the universe just brings her more and more and more about it. She can just feel herself evolving, her knowledge base evolving and expanding. And she realized that what's fun is that motion. It's not fun knowing it all. It's fun, the motion of becoming of it. So now the word expansion is in there with fun. And then she thought, ooh, it's so fun to feel so clear about this. Clarity is really clarity. Oh, clarity. That must be the best word on the high-flying disc. Clarity. Because in clarity, there's no There's no resistance. There's nothing holding me back. There's no trauma at all. There's no negative clarity. Clarity is what I seek. So for days, she'd be crowing to herself and anyone who would listen to her about how fun it was, how really good feeling it was to feel clarity. Clarity, clarity meaning no contradiction, sureness, certainty, sure-footedness, clarity, knowing what to do, self-guided, knowing what to do. And then she started understanding that no needing any advice from the peanut gallery, no needing any opinions from anybody else, no needing to weigh the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses, because there was clarity, because Source is clear about who she is and what she wants. And when she tunes in with Source, now it's clarity. Clarity about where to go, what to say, when to go there, when to be there, when to leave, when to slow, when to go. In other words, clarity. Guidance. Oh, guidance, alignment. You see what we're getting at?
Oh, yes.
You can just have a never-ending word journey where the emotions will just continue to flow within you. And even with this conversation, a sort of rampage that we've had just now together, can't you feel the energy of your being uplifted? Don't you feel more energized? Didn't you find that a bit interesting? Aren't you eager? Ooh, eagerness. Eagerness, that eagerness, that alive, appreciative, desirous. Ooh. Don't you love to be desirous? Don't you love to have fresh desire? Don't you love to have desire? Desire in absolute knowing that everything that you could ever want or need will flow to help you, not just in the fulfillment of it, but in the fun-flowing, never-ending unfolding of it, you see. You never get it done, and you can't get it wrong. Your whole intention was to just feel like this as it's unfolding for you, you see.
Desire scares me a little bit. But I found in Law of Attraction where you said desire from the point of positive attraction. And that really settled it down, the point of a very positive perspective. I mean,
what is unsettling about desire?
Well, if my values or my personal perspective is selfish, then my desires
are. It better be.
Well,
because you've only got the perspective of self.
There's
desire,
things I could do harm.
So in the same way that we were talking about these other words that kind of fit together, the word desire for you feels a little greedy, feels a little selfish.
Yeah.
So you got to work the bugs out of that.
Well, if I move to if I do what you say and I move to a positive emotion spot and my desire flows from there, then I don't have a problem.
Well, we just have some questions, so let's really nail that down for you, because this is big and very important. So if it is true, and it is, that you are an extension of that which is Source, and that life will inspire you to new interests and desires and preferences, and that Source flows with you and through you to those desires, and that, in fact, the desires that are born summon the energy for the fulfillment of what they are. And if it is true that everyone stands as this object of attention of Source, and that everyone has this endless energy flowing to you toward that which you are creating, then is it possible for anyone to get more than their fair share? The only thing that would stop you from summoning energy is to not focus it into being. So you could stand as one who doesn't focus and criticize those who have focused, but it wasn't because there was a shortage of energy for you. It was because you used the condition of someone else getting it to block yourself from it, and then you blamed them for not flowing. That doesn't feel good, does it?
No.
And so, do you believe that everyone is an object of this Source, attention, and awareness?
I am moving to that point, and yes, I do.
Well, theoretically,
but
is anything
I can
else
think of
logical
times
to you?
in my past when
Before you knew what you now know.
Yeah.
when you were living a more conditional love and a conditional life, when you used some of those bogus, trumped-up conditions to block yourself from well-being, and then blamed the very condition that you trumped up for not having the well-being that you wanted. But your desire was not the problem. Your resistance was the problem.
Okay. All right.
That's why we begin every gathering with, are you knowing what you are wanting? And do you like the feeling of desire? Because a feeling of desire that is unfettered or unhindered by your own resistance, which is the only thing that can hinder it, is the delicious life that you are all reaching for. But a desire that you are stymieing or squelching or hindering because you have misunderstood who you are or who everyone else is, then we can understand how that would make you a little uncomfortable. And it's what causes people to develop these patterns of thoughts about that are, the best label for them is shortage consciousness, as if there's only so much to go around, and shortage consciousness, as if there is only so much to go around, and since those people over there are receiving so much, then surely they must be taking away from the pie. And we say, the thing that most humans are still not quite yet understanding hardly at all, ever, you create the pie. You create the pie. You create the pie. You create the pie. Your desire creates the pie. So it's like you've created this endless pie, and then you stand in a place where you just don't give yourself any. And then you say, this pie isn't big enough. And we say, yes, it is. You're just vibrationally out of sync with the pie. That guy's taken too much of the pie. No, he isn't. You're just vibrationally out of sync with the pie. The pie will expand to meet his desires and his desires and her desires and her desires and your desires. The pie will expand to satisfy everyone's desires. In fact, it already has. The question isn't, is the pie big enough? The question is, what's your expectation when you go to get it? What thoughts have you been practicing, you see? Really good conversation. We're giving you more than where you stand actually is asking for. But that was worth working the bugs out a little bit, don't you think?
Absolutely, and I appreciate the words, and I will use them.
Yeah. So now what? So now where are you?
I'm happy. You answered my question.
And how do you feel about, are you eager about new desires being born within you? It's all right, we put you on the spot a little bit, but we really want to...
Well, if I think back, I mean,
Don't think back.
Oh.
Don't think back. Think forward.
To the conversation today where you said that our desires are there, and I simply need to open up and let them expand.
So your desires are inevitable. So what we're asking is, since your desires are inevitable, and that is for sure, your desires are inevitable. Don't you want to do whatever you can do to be the receiver of the inspiration of them? Oh, stay there for just a minute. Did you hear what we just said? So the desires that are born within you, the desires that have been born within you and that are being born within you, are flowing from your vortex into your point of attraction. In other words, that they are ideas that you are realizing because you were in vibrational sync with your source and with your vortex. Did you follow that? We have to stay here because we really want you to get this. So, the fact that a desire has been born, let's say it in a different way, has been realized by you. The fact that you have realized a desire. The fact that you have become aware that you have a desire. The fact that you are now aware that you have a desire means that inspiration was allowed by you in a time of no resistance. Stay there for a minute. So you found a time of no resistance, and what happened? A desire came. Boom! And then you killed it with your doubt. But think about that. This is really big. The fact that the desire happened means that you were at a place of non-resistance when that desire came. Then you started placing all kinds of conditions on that desire and introduced all kinds of resistance to it, and then the desire didn't feel so sweet. But a desire that stays fresh can... Really, the point that we're making, and it's such a new conversation about law of attraction, and we are so pleased that there are so many of you right here having the experience of the unfolding of it within you, is that you must have created the atmosphere that allowed the inspiration of the desire to begin with. And now you just have to keep doing the work that allows, beyond the inspiration, the allowance of the manifestation of the desire. And that's what life is. Because you can't be in an environment that is constantly producing desires within you, and it is. You can't be in an environment that is constantly producing desires within you and feel good unless you're staying up to speed with the desires. That's why this conversation about desire, we cannot let it stand as so many people want to stand it, that there's something wrong with desires. Because desires are born out of alignment, you see. And what makes you want to quell desires is then so when you have buyer's remorse, you were in alignment when you bought it. You just didn't stay in alignment, and now you think you shouldn't have. So don't have desires remorse. Don't have desires remorse.